Yo, what is up world, Matadors here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. It is really good to see you guys. This week's vlog, we're going to be talking about my 10th year of college education. As you may know, I'm a student at USC and this is my last semester that I'm going into and probably my last semester I will ever be doing in my college career. So before we get into it, go ahead and run the intro and I'll see you soon. All right, so like I said, I want to just share with you guys what my 10-year journey has been to getting to this very last semester at USC. So in order to do that, we got to go way back to the time that I was in community college after graduating from high school from the years of 2009 all the way to 2014. So let's start off by looking at my college transcript from the college that I went to, which is College of the Sequoias. Now, I don't see too many people sharing this information. So you know how I like to do. I love to share this kind of stuff just so that you, if you are going through this stage of your life, or if you're just wondering what my life was like, what classes I took, here it is. I have nothing to hide and I'm excited to share all this information with you. So there are some highlighted areas that you can see and I'll briefly go over those right now. Those are all the classes that I failed because yes, I have failed before and you may have failed as well. So full transparency, I'm not a perfect specimen and I never was and I never will be. And I'm really, really excited to share all of these failures that I have highlighted here with you. So if you can notice all of the classes that I took, again, I was here for 5 years of my life. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out who I was as a young man and who I wanted to be in the future as a grown man. So I took a lot of classes that very much varied from one another, from year to year, semester to semester, but it was all part of the entire plan, I guess you could say. Even though I didn't really know where I was going to end up, that was really the awesome part about going to community college, is that you could take a lot of classes and most of the time it's much, much cheaper, if not for free nowadays, versus going to a university. So the luxury for me was taking as much time as I could, even though it was much more than 2 years, which most of these community colleges are only 2 years. But I took a lot of time just figuring out what I wanted to do. I took math classes, English classes, biology, chemistry, and most of those really heavy hitting classes I took because I wanted to be an eye doctor. But, you know, I found out after failing so many classes that it probably wasn't for me. And if you can look at kind of the 2014, 2013 time of my transcript, you can see a lot of the classes that I took began to change. I started to take classes that were more towards media, more towards writing, and it really just satisfied that filmmaking idea that I had because this college didn't have any film classes really. So I took as many as I could and as soon as I could because again, I went through so many classes trying to figure out what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. So yeah, I failed a lot and I tried so many classes. So that's my biggest takeaway from community college. Again, if you are in community college right now, or if you went through community college, maybe you can agree and maybe you can kind of see where I'm coming from because you have the ability to take as many classes as you possibly can. And of course, you need to take classes that will kind of get you to either the next courses or are prerequisites for whatever it is your major is. But you get to explore, you get to kind of figure out what it is that you like. And I'm happy that I took the time, 5 years of my life to figure out what that was. Because if I didn't take that much time, I don't know that I would be going into my 10th year of college, feeling extremely happy, extremely secure about where I landed with my major today. And if you didn't know, I transferred out of COS with my AA with studies, sociology, and behavior. I think that was it. It looks like that's it. I don't even remember. How funny. But I left that school and transferring to CSUN with a overall GPA of 2.68. Pretty crazy. But yeah, that's what my overall GPA was. Again, I'm not a perfect student and I wasn't. So I'm super thankful and happy that the grades that I did have was just enough to get me to the next level. All right, now CSUN, you can see this transcript is much smaller because I was only here for 2.5 years and my major was cinema and television arts. So it was a bachelor's degree and it revolved around filmmaking. And again, after taking all those classes at COS, I've really found my passion and love for filmmaking. So I transferred to CSUN and I was able to get into all the classes that really kind of excited me about this idea of filmmaking. It taught me about what filmmaking is, how to do it, why to do it, and it was just a really awesome time. I met so many incredible people and friends, just like I did at COS. As you saw, there was a lot of transforming for me again at COS or at CSUN, because at the time I was going through a huge breakup with a girlfriend who I carried over from COS, but we broke up, and there were just a lot of big life moments. I worked at different places. I was doing different things and exploring in myself and in my creativity, so it was a lot of fun. And at CSUN, as you can see, I only got 1 D in all of the classes that I ever took at CSUN. I was not an A student, as you can tell, but I did have to retake one class, which was the history of broadcasting, and I swear to goodness, that was such a hard class for me, but I was able to finally get a C, a passing grade in that class, and move forward with my career at CSUN. And as you can see at the end of each semester, you can kind of see where my GPA was, and I think what was the lowest that I had. The lowest GPA that I had was a 2.6, which was in my second semester at CSUN. And I always talk about this with a lot of my friends at USC. I had one of the lowest transferring GPAs on getting into USC, which is pretty crazy. A lot of people are so conscious, and a lot of us think that we need the best grades to get into these huge institutions, which that does play a role in it. I'm not here to say get bad grades and you can get into and do whatever you want to do. That's not what I'm trying to promote. What I'm trying to say is that with the low grades that I did have, or I felt I had at the time, I was quite surprised that I was able to get into USC. But again, I think it's very contingent on my major. It's a filmmaking major where your GPA isn't necessarily the most important thing coming into this program, the master's program. It's really about the story that you craft and you write in your personal statement. It's about the body of work that you have underneath you. And I think that's what really outweighed my GPA getting into USC. But if you're one of those people who had a lower GPA going into USC and you're watching this, I would love to hear what your GPA was and what your process was getting into USC. So yes, again, if we're counting, that's 5 years at COS, 2.5 years at CSUN, and then now a 3-year program at USC. So it's a incredibly long journey it has been. And I didn't plan for this. I had no idea where I was going. Again, take a look back at the transcript from COS and you can see that I really had no direction, but I would just continue to be persistent with education. I believed in it. It was something that really shaped me as a person. And I think that the biggest takeaway from these 10 years that I'm starting to see and have seen over the years is like how to study. And not necessarily just study like tests and quizzes, but just study something you're interested in, taking what you have interest in and like turning into a student of whatever it is that you are interested in. And that's what I've been doing my entire life after, starting at COS. I really learned how to be a student of life, a student of filmmaking, a student of, being a friend, of being a lover, of being a family member. And for me, that's been the biggest takeaway. And, I didn't have the best grades at any of these schools that I'm at, or that I went to, I guess you could say. But the biggest thing that I did have was I had great study habits, and I continue to have great study habits because it's something that really means a lot to me. And I know that I can find success if I can just figure out how to study something and learn the ins and outs of whatever it is that I am faced with. So that is my takeaway from you. I hope you enjoyed this kind of a podcasty type of vlog. It was a lot of talking, but I had a lot of fun just going back and looking at these old transcripts that I haven't even looked at in quite some time. So I hope you found it helpful, and I hope you found it encouraging if you are a student like myself who doesn't get the best grades, but hopefully, like myself, you're an excellent student and you enjoy studying whatever your craft is. Again, Happy New Year's. Welcome to 2023. If you enjoyed this week's vlog, you know what to do. Go ahead and do a super jump on that like button down below. And also get subscribed to the YouTube channel because every single Wednesday is a brand new vlog. Well, I'm Matty V as a cinematographer / student, and I will see you all in 7 days. Fight on.